Folks, if you're tuned in via the Orion Talk Radio website, you'll see a chip-in button. And that chip-in button helps support the radio station and getting some new equipment and updating things and just making it a better listening experience. So if you can chip in 43 cents or whatever, that would be just fine. And any amount helps, believe it or not. But everything's donation-based, and none of us here make any money doing this stuff. This is all out of a sense of duty and pride for our country and the world too. I mean, it's really an important thing. But speaking of some world news, guys, I found this extremely humorous, and I am going to put this in the chat room, the link for people to see. And there you go, guys. And this is also from the Daily Mail. It's Obama fried chicken. OFC pops up in China. But can the president also match the secret recipe of Colonel Sanders? And it goes on to say, is Obama abandoning his bid for a second term in the White House and is giving Colonel Sanders a run for his money by opening a chain of fried chicken joints? Now that's change you can't really believe in. But in Beijing, China, a restaurant is actually calling itself OFC with a logo that looks alarmingly like the president dressed in Colonel Sanders' clothes. And
now, be for damn sure if we would have done that.
The catchphrase underneath
we'd have been
says,
racist.
That's right. So the catchphrase underneath apparently says, "We're so cool, aren't we?" The Obama fried chicken could be a response to the U.S. filing a complaint with the World Trade Organization about Chinese tariffs on American chicken exports. According to the New York Times, the tariff affects an industry that employs about 300,000 people and a range from 50 to 100%, which means some Chinese importers paid as much as twice the price for American chicken.
Wow.
Maybe the Chinese have something of a Obama chicken obsession. Earlier this year in Hong Kong, an Obama lookalike was employed to advertise KFC. The restaurant sign was first spotted by the Shanghai.com and picked up by MSNBC. There are, of course, New York versions that have caused quite a stir, one in Harlem and one in Brooklyn. Some people have complained the names play into the old racial stereotypes. Really? You think? So there's some hijinks and shenanigans going on with China because, and I don't know if you guys have heard, but the Senate is actually taking up legislation before they start tackling the budget, trying to deal with China and take some sort of legislative action due to China's manipulation of their currency. It's really killing us from a trade perspective. And so, hooray for the Congress actually doing something to finally put the screws on China and say, look, here we are, the biggest importer of your goods. And you guys just keep your currency artificially deflated so that you put the screws to us. Well, we're going to put the screws right back to you. And I think this is going to start a gigantic trade war. I really do. And just add to the problems of this already free fall economy, if you will. What do you guys think?
I think that
Joe,
absolutely by design.
You know what? They should have taken all of that TARP money and all of the Wall Street and bank money, the bailout money, and they should have put it into taking back and rebuilding the manufacturing base in the United States and being with China. I'm just amazed that they can't figure that. I mean, kindergartners can figure this out. Hello?
I'll take it one step further, Gwen, and I'll say that they should have took all that TARP money and all that bailout money and divvied it out to every tax-paying American out there. And you want to know something? They'd pay off their homes. They'd pay off their credit cards. They would. Everybody would have an Escalade and some rims, and and it would bolster the manufacturing sector. As a matter of fact, I don't think the manufacturing sector could keep up. And then the banks, they'd get the money anyway because everybody's paying off their house. But now you got financially independent people. Oh, but you couldn't have that because then you eliminate the slave class. And if you eliminate the slave class, then you lessen the control that these elitists have on us poor slaves here down yonder. So they would never do that. But how effective would that be? How effective would that be? And I hear the pervasive argument is, well, inflation would go through the roof because all of a sudden everybody's got all this money and the cost of rims would go through the roof and Alcoa stock would go through the roof and everything else. And you know what? So what? So what? It's on the up and up anyway, and it's going to be bad.
Well,
anyway.
The thing of it is, Joe, if people had the money to spend, it would stimulate the economy. It would stimulate small business. It would increase the tax base. You know, I'm no economist. You don't have to be. But, you know, whatever they're doing, it's not working. And it hasn't been working for a really freaking long time.
Oh, hell, they knew that when they designed it that way.
That's right.
Sure.
But, you know, it's... Go ahead, Gwen.
Go ahead, Joe. Okay, I'll go ahead. What I want to say is when we went into receivership in 1933, and it appeared that we were in some recovery, we've been manipulated by this corporation in bed with the bankers since 1933, you know, before most of us listening or on this show were ever born. You know, it's and it's not going to change until that system is out of our. We just absolutely have to say no. We're not doing this anymore. It doesn't work, and until they're gone, we are not going to have any stability in our banking. We're not going to have any stability in our markets, and we're not going to have any manufacturing. And
well,
you can't function as a country without that.
Well, what do you think, Mike? You think that we're nearing a point of no return for this economy?
Oh, man, at that point's already come and gone. That part's painfully evident. And Gwen is absolutely spot on in her assessment that, you know, the only thing I would add to that is to suggest that it's absolutely 100% by design. And talking about the elimination of the slave class and everything, these people are not dumb. You know, I've said it a million times. If we have financial problems in this country, it's because somebody sitting in an office somewhere designed it that way. If the economy's bad. Well, why is the economy bad? It's because what happens is the American populace has gotten to the point where they've been so overwhelming and catastrophically weakened to the point where you get out there, you work your 8 hours, you pay your taxes, you pay into the rich to make the rich richer and the powerful even more powerful. And, you know, we make our little meager wages just to get by and keep our bills paid. And, oh, my God, am I going to be able to afford my car payment this month? While they sit up there like, you know, Montgomery Burns and raking in all the money to themselves. And we just keep facilitating it. We just keep facilitating it. You know, and until we, the people, are ready to break that repetitive circular cycle, until we, the people, are ready to simply stand up and say, you know what, enough is enough. They've done it once before in our history. They said very plainly, no taxation without representation. End of file. The reason that the media slams the Tea Party is because the Tea Party are the people that have the big enough cojones to stand up there and absolutely do it again. You know, and that's where it all boils down right there, is until we're ready and prepared as a nation to stand up and take the power and control of our nation back into our hands as the people, then this is going to be the same cycle we're going to see. Absolutely right. And I mean, just like Paul Craig Roberts said, you know, like if somebody wanted to you know, have conduct some sort of terrorist attack in the country, how easy would it be to actually do? And people just don't think about it in that frame of mind, you know? With that thought, man, I'm going to step out on a branch. And guys, I'm going to preface my comment by saying that this is not a suggestion. And I'm not saying I wish somebody would see this. This was something that a very wise person once said to me, was very simply put, he says, if you want to see terrorism, he says, let me tell you about terrorism. He said, you tie a towel around a coyote's tail and soak it in diesel fuel and light it on fire and set him loose in a national forest. He says, I'll show you terror like you've never thought. He says, you let somebody go to a city's water tower with half a gallon of cyanide. He says, I'll show you terror. He says, all this Hollywood garbage of planes flying into buildings, he says, that's not terror, that's Hollywood. He said, that's a great movie. No, absolutely right. Folks, Tuesday evening, we got Bob Chapman coming on. He's rescheduled his appearance and will be on Tuesday evening to talk about the economy, and that is at 10 p.m. Eastern.
And then, again, we're on Thursday, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sunday from 7 to 9. So, guys, first of all, Mike, I'd like to thank you for coming out, and you certainly do make the show a lot easier when you're here, man.
I greatly appreciate it. I'm honored, man. And, we talked a little bit about this. Just wanted to offer the tactical tip of the week if I can. Ladies and gentlemen, a handgun is the weapon you use to fight your way to a rifle. A handgun is not a defensive weapon. So if you have not purchased yourself a rifle for the oncoming stresses this nation faces, I highly recommend you doing it.
Well, amen to that. Guys, the email address, the Freedom Link at CenturyLink.net. If anybody has any questions, concern, or comments, please drop us a line. Until then, on behalf of Gwen Caldwell and Mike Powers, I'm Joe Joseph. Have a pleasant evening, everybody. Good night. Out from the wreckage, can't make the slightest mistake this time.